So let's dive in, like get in there, get reconnected, get the audience to get to know you. You got a various array of topics, if you would, but I want to start with the interdimensional world. Can you talk to us about that for a minute? How is it, and actually can it be accessed? That people go about doing that, and what was your, and how did you figure out that, hey, there's a real something to this?
Yeah, well, part of it comes from experiences that I've had throughout my life. Part of it comes from the research that I've been doing over all of these years. And really, when it comes down to, it's all energy, resonance, frequency, vibration, that sort of thing. So when we have like a supernatural experience, we see some sort of phenomenon. We're seeing and experiencing these things because for a moment our personal resonance, frequency, and vibration will suddenly become in tune for whether it's just a second, maybe it's a few moments or what have you, to whatever that phenomena is. We get a glimpse of it. I think we tend to forget as humans that we only see into a very narrow band of light. We only hear on a certain wavelength. There's so much more out there in our universe that we don't usually see and experience, but yet it is there all around us.
Do you think that
Real
we,
quick
yeah,
too,
go
because
ahead.
I left something out. Make sure you check out all of Mike's links. They are in the show description below.
Feel good?
Yes.
All right. So do you think though, when people take a look at exploring interdimensional, is it a physical place that we go to, or is it, I mean, or do we coexist with it? So like, for example, like when we're walking throughout this planet right here, wherever city, USA, are we actually seeing and coexisting with people that are actually in their mind or in different dimensions, and they see it that way? Or are we all in one place together? Like, how's that?
Yeah, all of those dimensions are around us. Right now, we are existing in the fourth dimension. So every dimension that is below us, you take the first dimension, that's a line. Second dimension is a plane. Think of it kind of like a piece of paper. Third dimension, 3D object. And then fourth dimension is time, where we exist. Well, our theoretical physics has shown that we have up to 11 hyperspatial dimensions. So, why wouldn't some other beings, life forms, what have you, be living within those other dimensions? Now, because it is on a different dimensional plane of existence, it's not something that we usually see or interact with, especially since they are higher dimensions. Again, you see from your dimension and lower, rather than higher. So if something comes into our plane of existence from another dimension, we may get a glimpse of it. It's going to look rather bizarre. And great example. I'm going to throw this out there. Michio Kaku does a great job with this, fantastic theoretical physicist. And he has a great analogy about, think of fish in a pond, and think of that as that's a, two-dimensional world of existence for them. And they're, all they know is life in the pond. Well, take that fish out of the pond, which would be like moving it from one dimension to another, and they're going to see this whole world around them that they had no idea actually existed before. Well, the same thing with us. If we were to move up another dimension, we would see an entire universe around us that we didn't know was previously there.
But we would still, in a sense, be
But it's still there.
But
It's still
it's
there.
still
Yeah.
there. Yeah, I get you.
So, there's a lot to unpack in that one thing you just said right alone. But I want to start with, you said we are in the fourth dimension. Many believe that we are in the third dimension still. So I want to hear your perspective on that. And where do shadow people play in the level of dimensions? And really, what exactly are they?
Okay, so you asked a bit there. Yeah, we are, I mean, I don't know how else to explain it other than the dimension that we are in is the dimension of time. That is where our bodies are three-dimensional objects, but yet our existence, our consciousness rather, is actually within the fourth dimension. So our consciousness is able to experience our three-dimensional body, the three-dimensional objects that are around us, and so forth, on down. So time basically is we call that the fourth dimension, but time is basically a human construct, and we've used that to describe our reality, keep track of the seasons and that sort of thing. But really, it's where our consciousness currently resides to be able to experience everything else around us. When it comes to shadow people, that's a whole can of worms. So asking, okay, what's a shadow person is, how much time do we have?
At least an hour.
Yeah, they can be a lot of different things. So, what I think a true shadow person is an interdimensional being, something that comes from some other plane of existence that has crossed over into our reality. But, they could be a human spirit who can't fully manifest. They could be an extraterrestrial. These could be astral projections that we're getting a glimpse of, and a lot of different things. It really kind of depends on the particular shadow in that particular moment and situation. Some of these are even time slips where we are getting a glimpse of another moment of time that happens to resonate in the same frequency as our moment.
That is a very, very interesting concept, and I never heard of it before I was going through your information. Time slips. Can you help us understand more of what that is?
Yeah, absolutely. So there'll be moments that occur in life in which you'll get a glimpse of something playing out in front of you. Some people will probably attribute it to, I saw a ghost or something like that. And there'll be times where whatever they see and whatever's playing out will turn and look at them as if they are the ghost, that they are the apparition. And there's some great examples of this. One is at what's known as the Conjuring house, that the movie The Conjuring was based off the first one. And one of the more magnificent things that happened there, which never shows up in the movie at all, is Carolyn Perrin had woken up at night. Her daughter Andrea was still awake, and Carolyn had asked Andrea, "When can you, heat up some coffee for me and what have you?" Okay, fine. So Andrea goes to take care of that, and Carolyn's sitting in the parlor, and all of a sudden, in the dining room, she sees this family morph into existence. All of a sudden, there's a woman cooking over the open hearth, which had been closed at that point in time. There's a couple children running around. There's two men sitting at a table with pewter tankards, something like out of the 1700s, and they turn and see Carolyn there, and one says to the other, "Well, would you look at that?" And then the moment kind of dissolves. So this was, one moment in time bleeding into another. And what's fascinating to think about that, yes, Carolyn saw a moment from the past, but they were actually seeing a moment from the future.
That's
And
wild.
so, yeah, and we see things like this kind of scattered about.
Does the possibility exist that we, the three of us, for example, are we in an afterlife? Are we the afterlife? Like people say, "Oh, you're in an afterlife. Well, you'll get this when you go to an afterlife." Could that possibility exist that,
We're living in it now?
we're living in an
We're
afterlife?
living in it now. Well, what I postulate with stacked time theory is that, again, time being a human construct to describe our reality, is that all time is concurrent, past, present, future, all happening at the same time. And that's why we'll see these moments kind of bleed over into each other at times. Take, where you're sitting right now, and every moment that has happened, is happening, and will happen are all stacked up on top of each other like a stack of photographs. And there'll be moments in time where two of those moments will resonate the same frequency for just a moment, and we'll get a glimpse of the other. You see a lot of concepts like this in like Einstein's concept of space time continuum, block universe, that sort of thing. I've kind of taken it to I guess another level with that.
So, when Alex was about 4 years old, he still remembers this vividly, and he's going to be 21. We were standing in the kitchen of our old house, and when you were standing like it was between the doorway and the kitchen, there was a hallway, and you could clearly see right down the hallway. And we both were standing right by the doorway because we were getting ready to go outside. And both of us just froze. And he looks up at me and he said, "Did you see that?" And I looked down at him. I said, "Did you just see what I saw?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he grabs my leg. And we both saw it was definitely a female energy from like the 20s. and she literally floated from our bedroom into his bedroom. So
Oh, wow.
it was totally wild. I've never experienced anything that visual.
Mhm.
And my question to you was that a shadow person? Was that a time slip? Or was that
A ghost?
an ancestor from the past?
Yeah, I would say not a shadow because it's too distinct. You know, with the shadow, you're getting something that, I mean, by its name, very shadowy in nature. You don't get a lot of features. It's, you know, you're not really seeing a face. Clothing's going to be vague. You might be able to tell that, you know, like it's wearing a hat, maybe it's wearing a cloak, something like that, but you're not getting a lot of detail. So it sounds more like an apparition. Could be a time slip. Could be human spirit coming forth. Could be some sort of residual energy. It's hard to know just from that little bit, but I would certainly say more of the latter rather than the former.
What's the purpose of a shadow worker? What are they here to do? Are they here to teach us something, or is it just that are they kind of like stuck? Like, what's their whole existence for?